materials was just going to be able to run it out, and they timed it perfect.
Yeah, look, you know, it got to that 8th zone, and you know, Reese mentioned it, the third move in. That's when you got to start making a decision as a duo, right? You got to start thinking, okay, what's our win condition here? How do we actually win this game? Cool, we've made it. You know, we've done a brilliant job to get all this away. But how do we win this game? Do you look down? Do you look up for height? They looked up for height, and like you said, the perfect timing. They won out the game from there. This is going to be a team who, moving into the finals, will be a big threat. But as you can see, we've been talking about these standings. Even if you aren't winning games, you still want to make sure you are doing well when you play, because you want to be in the top 6 at the end of the 5 games here. Of course, a lot of these teams who are on that page, you can probably see winning a game. Like, I'm not going to lie, at some point I will expect Anderlecht, right, who's sitting on that top 6 to win a game. And so still, a couple more games to try and get it done. But so far, I've not been disappointed by these games whatsoever.
And it's just going to get that much, I don't want to say like easier, son. That's not the right word, but as these like players are getting the Victory Royale, they're removed from the pool, right? So that might free up a POI. Reese literally just kind of hinted at this at the end of this last game, but Sundown, if without these duos around, it's like suddenly you have this breathing room. You're like, okay, my POI is uncontested. Oh, I know one POI is uncontested. Now it's all about evolving in the moment.
Yeah, one of the things to consider is if you're one of these top 50 duos, it is a long haul. You have tons of opportunities to get it. Eventually, you're going to be able to get a match. And also, don't forget, it's not like the semifinals has all of the major players pulled out. It's only the 32 best players so far, the best duos in Europe, who have been pulled out. So the best of the best are still playing and going through. Every single one of these duos is capable of winning 1 in 16 matches, which they have the ability to play in. They just have to go through, stick to their game plan, and eventually get that chance. And once you get the opportunity, you got to put your foot through it and just keep going, right?
That's right, man. 3 more games to see how this all unfolds in just day number 1. So for now, let's jump on that battle bus again. We got Shawage, we got Reese. Now we have game number 3.
Thanks so much, Zeke, Levin, and Sundown. And once again, Sundown leaving us with some awesome words. Time is still there. It's of the essence. But Reese, you have to grasp it. 2 games already down, 3 more to go. This is going to be tough for some of these teams who are having a rough day.
It is, and you know what, like you mentioned, 3 games left. The teams who are down at the bottom of that leaderboard so far, who, you know, off spawn, be it with Surge, early mid game, whatever it is, like they're gonna have to sit and think in their head, do we change drop spot if we're contested right now? Some of them are kind of opening up across the map so far. You don't probably know that. Are other teams gonna look to land there at the same time? Do we just play for the Victory Royale as the games start to get closer to the end? Are we still trying to get points in any way, shape? I think game 5 is gonna be very interesting for that front, you know. But the teams at the top, hopefully just clean sailing from there on out.
Yeah, many different hallways to walk down on, but only one door for all these teams, right? We have 3 more we're going to sign off with straight to the finals, and we have that top 6 as well. We're looking for the consistency overall. That being said right now, I mean, we have some really cool teams to look at to try to root on for. I'm liking the Analytics and Squeeze situation that Levin was talking about too, a possible win for them coming through. Belusi Hydro are making it a little bit more consistently towards these end games. We don't usually see that from this team, Reese.
Yeah, you don't at all, to be honest with you. And the team I actually want to talk about, I'm just going to totally sidetrack that.
Yeah,
I love those guys. But Floki and Clement at the same time, you know, we saw them through Qualifier 1, Qualifier 2, struggle off spawn, continue to fight, but have some good games in there. Right now, that last game, 7 eliminations and a 4th, looking absolutely fantastic. But here we go. We got game number 3 underway. You hear the bus. Here we have it. Game number 3. 2 down. The actual midpoint, not the midpoint that Shio suggested in the previous game. And yet again, we're starting with the same drop spot. Covert Canyon. Vino's got the drop spot nailed this time.
Thomas HD missing the 4th shot of this off spot. 5th, 6th. Don't make it 7. That's what I'm talking about. The lucky number, and he's there with the 144. The first game started off just like that too. That's 7 shots to take for him to basically get online. They're in 7th place overall as well. The stars are aligning for Thomas HD and Tayson Reese.
I don't know what I was sweating more at, the end game where he was solo clutching, or just that 1v1. Like, I'm checking my pits right now, I'm telling you.
Oh my goodness. Vino though, he should still be around. Unless that was Vino that was taken out. I was just paying more attention to the shot completely, but Joe and Vino are there somewhere. Aqua and O'Reilly, I see 2 eliminations. Is Aqua allowed to play in the FNCS now? This is crazy. Usually just
Part of would suggest that was the case. The drop map nailed at this point, the pickaxe, even though he's got the gun out, and that is it. A quick 50-50, and this is kind of what you actually want to do. early game. And not usually, right? If you're looking for a consistent game, you don't want a 50-50, but a team like Aqua and Norelli who are going for that victory royale, let's be real, they're trying to win a game. 50-50 off spawn, gets it over with quickly, then they can play the rest of it out, hopefully without that turn of the long off one fight.
Lucky Mr. J inside a fight, and Vico's up against him too. He takes a little bit of a break to go for a few shots up in the air. Already knows he's on the cornfield somewhere and has no builds either. What? Mr. J, that's a 5 HP shot to keep him in the game. 2 HP. You cannot take it easy against these players. First Thomas, then Mr. J. And the fear is still there too. The teammate that we saw before, Wolffield on the top side who's gliding in, is going to have a little bit of HP to get back as well, but Mr. J has to hold things down himself. This is trouble. Wolfie's there to help him out, and he has a little bit of time to get a few mats. This is crazy. These shots, Reese, it really seems like every player's online.
Every single one, the right-hand peak. This heavy shotgun, if you connect with it properly, man, does it do damage. We also saw that with Thomas HD earlier on. Now we're seeing it at the same time with Mr. J here. And obviously, Yikes has lost Vico. He's going down for this 1v2. We know that Mr. J alongside Wolfie don't have many materials in there. So this pressure is going to be really important. Trying to just dwindle away the match. Slow pickaxes, the good angles, but not trying to waste too much time so that Wolfie can pop that med kit that he's potentially just already going to go for here.
Yeah, Mr. J's just holding it out. The med kit does get popped. Ultimately, and now Yikes has to do 200 total damage. Nice shot. The left one misses. The one fortunate. It's just one pellet, and if it's just hit fired, it's not going to go the right space. Nice creative edit too. Try to maybe catch Wolfie off guard, but it's not going to be enough, and they make it. I mean, surprisingly off spawn.
Yeah, honestly, what's interesting is that for Mr. J and Wolfie, like, they were in qualifier number 1. Ooh, that was a beautiful shot now they watched it back from that perspective. But these guys were uncon here, right? This is their draw spot that they've chose to in Sanctuary, and they weren't really able to capitalize on that, right? They ended up 22nd overall, and I'm wondering if, in all honesty, being contested will help. As we see Layson going for the reboot launch, failing it twice, it would seem.
That is the funniest thing I've seen in the FNCS. I'm not gonna lie. I was about to be ready to break that down. Like, this is sick. I like this investment. Yeah. Bing bong. It just hits
He's gonna carry him through the air. It's gonna be amazing. No.
Oh my god.
But interestingly enough, Layson and Mirza, like, if you remember back, qualifier number 1, they had a ton of struggles off spawn, and this seems to be absolutely no different right now. They seem to not be able to get a break at all.
Layson should look up, some stand-up comedy maybe, if this is the case. If the FNCS is not working out. He's trying this. I mean, we've seen some crazy shots. It's all been thanks to this heavy shotgun, and Layson has one in his inventory. 4 opportunities to make it happen. That it might be a little bit more than heavy of a shot. You need to land that distance of where the teammate is of Refstarter now. Scram all the way on the beach. Ref's still looking for the final confirmation. He's not going to actually leave anything up to chance. I like this. He has the all-in, he has the right angle as well in terms of getting Layson down, but he stays a little bit back and makes sure that there's no chance he takes extra damage.
This is an interesting fight for Riskard. They're kind of pushing way off of their spawn there. Like from the shallow high wire draw spot, this is quite a long way to travel here. As we switch back over, see the replay of what actually happened. So this is the fight that they ended up going down for. And I'm guessing right now that you can understand what's happening from this POV, right? This is why Refsguard and Scram ended up pushing into that perspective. They see that fight going on. They understand both teams are weak down there. That's probably why they've moved so far out their drop. Obviously, it didn't work out so far for Layson, though.
This is where we start to see teams try different things, and that's what makes it interesting for everyone as well. It's playing. They have to just make sure they're not getting too comfortable overall. That's what happens in Game 3 sometimes, too. I would assume that a bunch of teams playing right now, close and Agenda especially, are still frustrated, not fully comfortable with the performances they're getting game after game. I'm seeing right now that, 70 points, 60 points is where you want to be if you want to have that consistency angle coming in. Inside the semifinals, they're at 15, so they have a lot of work cut out ahead of them.
Yeah, and Andrea is a tarper at the end of the day, And Flois is a fantastic low ground player as well. Remember back to multiple seasons where he was able to pop off alongside Kaiser and Hellfire in, I think, season 7 as well. Fantastic low ground player. Andrea, similarly with Mr. Benji, I say that every time. Benji Fishy and Mr. Savage, again, a great low ground team. So if you're trying to be consistent here, it's not the play style that's going out for that. So I don't know if we're going to see these guys go to high ground, but what I do know is that they're hitting their shots.
We saw some low ground teams have a little bit of success, and yeah, they're definitely landing their shots now. We saw some issues with them inside, I think it was game number 1. Ball things were starting off completely, but the main focus too in terms of hitting your shots was what is happening at Chonker Speedway. Floki Clement you know, let's just William. There's a lot of action.
You know what's interesting is like half the teams here aren't even.
Oh non, ma caméra bug, vas-y.
coming into this game, I was going to say coming into this, it doesn't matter. They're 6th right now. That's what truly matters.
Absolutely, and split down the middle, no man's land on that dirt trail on the left side. We'll have 2 different sides of the lobby to look at right now. Everyone will have to move back into the grove. All the high ground we see right now might not have the utmost control, but it will be Seti and Chapix inside that seat first off. Every time I've seen Chapix in half and half get height, he wins games. So will he stay true to that pattern, to that power? That is the question, as the entire lobby has to move.
That's true when it comes to normal trios, game mode, potentially duos, but when it comes to where every single victory royale matters, way more focus is up there. This may be too early for them to take it. I want to see how they go. They're obviously looking for a little bit, I don't want to say desperate right here, but like they need to pick up a victory royale or a massive game to clutch them, to throw them up into the top 6, because they are currently outside of that. Land in the front side of the zone. Say he's going to use that tarping ability instead, and it's going to be Relvis and Krusty on height.
Now they have the loadout, they have the position. Clownsky 2 bounces up in the sky. Krusty Relvis reconnected and based up as well. They're looking to really stay up here. This is not a rental property. They're not trying to move after this zone ends. This is very good from them, but at the same time, Reese mentioned it, kind of early to set control this heavily as you start to move. They've invested so many materials, hard mats for now, and look who's looming right there below. Yes, indeed. It's Thomas HD and Tayson right underneath high ground, 572 damage above. All they have to really worry about is their position. Zone still keeps moving. Seti and Chapix are right by them on the same layer, side by side. Relvis drops down, Krusty still up top, and that might be it. Wait a minute, Noah Riley out of nowhere. Also on the backside, where's Aqua is the real question. Thomas and Tayson are now head free, looking straight up top for the high ground. The retake is starting to happen. Big beams for Thomas. Relvis goes down. Thomas then, one more opponent is Krusty the teammate, and he has the beams and the shot dominance. HD is alive, and they take heights.
Krusty and Relvis never made an FNCS finals. They're not used to a lobby of this caliber. They don't understand the height time retakes, but Thomas HD and Tayson absolutely do. Absolutely capped on materials. 100 builds still left on Thomas. I've got to assume that Tayson has even more to his name. The pepper's still in the inventory. The ammo absolutely plentiful. This could be the victory royale for Tayson and Thomas HD.
Still lots of legends all the way inside the mid and low ground. Refsguard, Spider-Man web shooters in hand, but he's running out of webbing. This is going to be tough. Scram also down. He has no teammate. He'll have to go for that solo clutch. The consistency matters here a lot too, so everything on the line for him on the front side.
See what he can work with as a solo player. 49 builds to his name. He can definitely clutch this up, but can he win it? The points are absolutely crucial right now. Some of the biggest names still up in the lobby. We see Cheatin picking up, and that's Lucia that goes down. The man I forgot earlier, but I'm not forgetting him right now. His leaderboard still up at the top. And as we look on top of the lobby, Tayson and Thomas HD dominating.
Water falling down, Kinzel to Siptos just stuck in a blender. This is going to be tough. Shots from all sides, and Kinzel finally just gets to breathe slightly. Siptos, though, running on the oxygen, armored wall on the left side, and there's a lot of shots coming in from the back. That storm is not only ticking, but the shots are rolling in too. The Siptos, 2 HP, needs to get that siphon, but too much HP on Chapix and Seti, who control the low ground. Refsguard, though, gets a position in front of them. Thomas HD is still running all the way up from height. It's wood gold, so he's just going to melt through them like a hot knife through butter. This is going to be easy and steamy for Thomas and Tayson all the way up top on high ground. Tayson also has that front side tarp. It's looking so good. This is fundamental from this duo, and they're looking to wrap things up.
They got the materials, they've got the ammo, they've got the firepower, they've got the brains, they have absolutely everything. But look, Andalik still in this. First place in the leaderboard down below. Same with Seti and Chapix, a team who didn't manage to win. They were on high ground at the 5th zone, but now they're on the low. They're claiming those points, and they're climbing up the leaderboard as well.
4 teams left. Seti, Chapix, one of them rattled on the head, though. Seti's looking confused, turned around, and he's down. Chapix survives on the backside, though. One player right above him. Is it his builds that he can edit? That's the question. Does he see it? No! Pop down! The awareness from Andalex is too much. Malibuka and Mustache are going to be on the backside. No shields. Thomas and Tayson looking healthy. Is this going to be the win? It starts with a lucky number 7 shot. It starts with a 50-50, and it ends with absolute tyranny. Just a complete tear all the way from high ground. Low HP for Mustache and Malibuka. Down below, there's one final drop that Tayson needs. He goes for the left-hand peek. First shot doesn't land. Second one. It's a split. Insane reactions and a double for Tayson. That's how you wrap things up. A victory royale, and Thomas and Tayson are going to the finals.
There was never any doubt at all. Tayson and Thomas HD, 2 veterans. It wouldn't be an FNCS finals without 2 of the best players, if not the 2 best players on the EU region making it through the finals.
That's what I like too. They're keeping it suspenseful. They're playing to their strengths. They're staying all the way away. You can even see the high ground at one point. They're playing in a different lobby, Reese. Rightfully so. So powerful, so free. Thomas HD and Tayson, what a win.
Absolutely clinical. Like we mentioned, we saw Krusty and Relvis go up for the high ground way too early. A team that's not as experienced when it comes to FNCS, not knowing that this is probably not the time you should go up for high ground. Thomas, HD, and Tayson, they know exactly what they're doing. They can look up, they can take advantage of the teams weak up on that high. And with plenty of materials from fragging out on the low ground, here we are, made it straight through the finals.
Absolutely, that's just nuts from them. But who else is there to keep rallying through? I mean, Zeke, Levin, Sundown, they've got the breakdown.
Thank you guys so much. I mean, Levin, I have to turn attention to you. Sundown, this is your prediction, but Levin, this will be for always and for all of time be your favorite player, Tayson.
Yeah, what can I say? I knew it was coming. Look, what did I say at the end of last game? I said, if they keep playing like this, it's going to be a very, very quick semi-final for them. And this is why. Obviously, they went off spawn, which was spectacular. Joe and Vino, don't know what you guys are doing, lads, but you got to hit the drawing board and come back with something stronger. You're lucky you ain't got to face these guys off again. But Thomas and Tayson, they looked up on high, right, when they saw Krusty and Relvis, and they thought, who are these guys? This is barbecue chicken. We're going to go ahead and win this game, and they did. Look, it was a mad end game. The last three teams there, Sundown, you know, you could have told me this was the FNCS finals. I would have believed you. Three monster teams at the end, but the most monstrous come out on top.
Yeah, it's been all about the veterans so far here in our first day of the semifinals, just finding opportunities to really take advantage of the experience. And the difference here, as we know, we see the control and Thomas being able to work top to bottom, but Tayson is up on his feet and they were able to go. It didn't require the individual effort that we saw in game number 2. And a lot of this, I think, stems from the confidence Thomas was able to get from that individual effort. And also, Tayson was able to actually get something off of drop. He didn't get beat to the floor loot. He was able to get a knock instantly, and they're able to roll into those 2 eliminations into all of this, right? And then once they're able to get the reset, we were kind of looking at the materials saying, did they have enough mats to do it? The reset was able to give them more than enough. And I mean, they have the individual skill to run that lobby out 99 times out of 100.
And just to think, a game ago, right, we watched Thomas HD almost single-handedly clutch the Victory Royale. And one of the big talking points was Tayson, right? If he had Tayson by his side, there's no doubt in our minds he gets the Victory Royale. And that's exactly what we saw, right? Literally the next game, they're like, oh, wait, sorry about that. Our plan changed a little bit. Don't worry about it. We're good to go. Let's take a look and remind ourselves of all of the players that have gotten themselves the Victory Royale and are already going on to finals. Now we add, of course, Thomas, HD, and Tayson to that list. Game number 2, we came out with Toos and Patrick. And of course, at the very beginning of the day, Janice and Vortex came out with a win as well. Now, Levin, Sundown, we still have 2 games to go. I think with this all now happening, I almost want to turn attention to Vino, right? Because I feel like without Thomas HD and Tayson, these guys are allowed to operate, right? But is it too late? Sundown and Alex and X Squeeze, they already have this lead.
Yeah, and Alex and X Squeeze, we can start to look towards the triple digit almost being enough to qualify through. It's 25 average points so far to keep you just above that kind of top 6 threshold and push forward. But don't forget, with 2 games down, a win at any point in time gets you there.
I am telling you, man, this is it. Like, you know, Levin, these players are thinking the same thing. Okay, even if our points aren't the best, even if we've been eliminated off spawn every game, even if we get to game number 5 and nothing has gone our way, if we just get the Victory Royale, though, we can make it to finals, Levin.
Yeah, and
it's possible.
You probably want to do it in this session, right? Because obviously session 2, a whole bunch of players start flooding into the lobby and you don't know how the dynamics will switch up in that case. And so, like you said, for a team like Joe and Vino, you know, okay, Cavan has to be out. We have to get those launch pads. We have to go on to win that game. And so if they don't wrap it up now, it's going to start looking really dicey moving forward.
Yeah, and the question really becomes, because everyone has access to the leaderboard, everyone knows for a fact that Tayson and Thomas aren't there anymore. Yeah. Does somebody else kind of look at the wins and say, oh, they're changing. Maybe we go to the Cavern, because Height's been so valuable so far this FNCS.
That is so funny, too, because that was one of the things we were talking about. Like, even before the show began, in a rehearsal was like, okay, how many duos can actually play Covert Cavern? If a duo is pulled from there because of the Victory Royale, does this mean we're going to start to see other duos flood into here? Because if they know how to play it, I mean, Joe and Vino haven't been doing well, right? So if this is just another duo that can come in, unless they have that kind of like bounce back performance, right? Where they fill themselves with confidence, they say we're ready to fight. I mean, they've just been bodied by Tayson and Thomas back to back to back, right, Levin? Is this possible? Do you think even if someone else creeps in, maybe Joe and Vino could just say, look, sorry about that. We're good. We're awake now. We want a Victory Royale as well.
Look, it would be something you could do in theory, but I would give Joe and Vino some credit in that typically they do have good drops. I know they have been beaten, the past 2 games against Thomas and Taysom, but typically they have good drops. If you don't have experience going covert at all, it would be very risky to try and outdrop them there. You could suffer the fate that Thomas and Taysom suffered in game 1. So, it's a decision you'll have to make, and you can't make that decision lightly whatsoever.
I was about to say, it's not like they were slouches there, right?
Yeah,
they won the first game and their drops have been on point. The problem is Thomas's drops have been near perfect. He's gotten to that first forward drop spot nearly every single time. And if you're touching down and being the first one there, you also get priority on that bunny hop and getting onto the zip line. So if you're not exactly pixel perfect like he's been, and you're only close enough, generally that's going to be better in a lot of circumstances.
And it just reinforces what Levin has been saying this whole time, right? I mean, Thomas HD is in peak form right now. He is firing on all cylinders. And now when we look to the finals, right? I mean, you don't want to go there. If you know this guy's going to be hitting that loot and he's ready to fight at the moment the game begins, you don't want to go there. But for now, we'll continue this topic as we come back later on because we have another game on hand. So let's kick it back over to our casters to take us in.
Thanks so much, Zeke. 11 Sundown. I mean, this is just, once again, bars being dropped. I'm listening to the best anthems of the week so far in terms of what these guys are spitting. Reese, it is coming up for some of these teams right now. Analytics, Squeeze, Lusha, Fury, like they're getting right there close to the mark, but not quite making it. Obviously, Thomas HD and Tayson, the most recent to kind of make it through that victory lap straight to the finals. What can he expect next?
I mean, the album's not even finished yet. 3 tracks already done, 2 more to go. I'm trying to figure out who's going to be those other 2 victory royales, right? Our top 6 on the leaderboard starting to settle. We see Endlike's next Squeeze trying to be up there, but we don't have long to figure out. Here we go. Game number 4 is just about to start. Semi-finals, day 1, game number 4. Beautiful pans of a beautiful map. We have a bunch of teams all looking for the victory royale, but we're going to start things off with the Daily Bugle. No Aurelian Aqua going against Splash. Something we've seen game after game. No team managed to capitalize really at all yet off the games they get off spawn, but maybe game number 4 is the one for them.
Kind of ironic too, because whoever ends up winning at the Bugle kind of controls the news around the map. They're the ones that end up pushing every other team as well. Splash and Jamzid, no pickaxe, funny business all the way up top. They're going straight down into the newsroom and still don't have any weapons. Splash, my man, there you go. No! What looked like a present ends up being his demise. Jamzid now all by himself. This is just going to be tough.
Yeah, the thing is to this, if Jam's fully disengaging, realistically, are you going to be able to get the reboot card? Are you going to be able to go back in? Like, there's so many teams in Bugle, and especially if this is a north zone, players are going to sit up around the volcano all around. You're not getting that card, you're not getting the reboot. So he has to make a decision here. What are we going to do? Am I going to play for points as a solo for the entire game, looting probably almost nothing because everything around here is contested? Or am I going to have to sneak back in here, try and get the reboot card off somewhere, maybe up to the north side of the map somewhere? I'm not entirely sure.
It's going to be tough. Definitely basically is untouchable. And then, yeah, not only, you're right, is the mission on getting the card impossible. Where do you go after that as well? My question, too, based off of last game, what did Aqua and Noah Riley do? I mean, they made it off spawn. They looked really good, but then were kind of invisible for the rest of the game.
I mean, the mid was good, right? Early and mid, great games, but they had the exact same flaw that Tayson did, right? Or sorry, not that Tayson did. They went up at the same time. I was about to say, I'm waffling at this point,
What a flaw. I want that flaw.
I know. Oh, no, they won the game. What a problem. No, but they ended up trying to go for the height at the exact same time as Tayson was. And the reason Tayson basically won is because they took advantage of that height retake that weakened the high ground, right? They didn't have such a great attempt at it. And you know, like, no, I was going to say Aquarelli. That's a great combination of their name. I think that's the way it's going to be from now on. You know, if they mess up the high ground retake, it's over for them at that point. And that's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, you have to not only pick a perfect time to go for height, you have to make sure you're not kind of, crashing midair when it comes to going for the high ground as well. You're ending up just dealing with one team, and now it's what 3-4 at the same time. So yeah, King of Height having a few issues on getting that kind of motto solidified inside the semifinals, but there's still 2 games left, and that includes this one entirely. What a shot, Harpoon combination, the pinch is there. Julius can't actually find anything after that, though. The shots are going to be good from the backside. I like the insurance where he's on top and Nipsey's the one doing the dirty work inside the box.
This fight, without this format, we wouldn't have seen it, because this was the home of Janus, who obviously qualified through in that first game. So they've opened this up. And one of the things I'm interested in now is this is Skyzoo who ended up landing here. So now in the south side, when we're seeing of Sleepy Sounds, that's going to leave Flois and Andrea uncontested there. You know, we saw those fights going on in the first couple. We've seen that switch up the drop spot. So interesting to see later on how they kind of play. Can they pick up a victory round?
Vino and Joe, Cruel and Kane, head to head, no Thomas and Tayson. So they had to basically go all in, it seems like, for the spot now. Timing's gonna be good for them too, Reese, right? They don't have to go for that initial 50-50, don't have to be damaged on shield overall. This is kind of what we saw Vino and Joe do all throughout the qualifiers, same type of game. And if that happens, they could also be slated up to win.
They're basically nearly bottom of the leaderboard based off their off-spawn performance so far. So this is going to be the first game that we're going to be able to really see how that plays out, as long as they don't go down to Kane and Cruel. But Mustache and Malabuka, now this is a fight that's interesting, because yet again, Fraction and Coop have pulled on round this way. Remember, we've seen them contesting Seti and Chapix. Now they've consistently moved into this. I'm wondering if they switched the drop spot up for this particular match, because they're just in this area yet again, but this time is a full duo.
Yeah, Fraction's group, I think, definitely just left sleepy. There's no chance that they're here this early unless they spawned with super peppers. I just got their super around the entire map.
You never know. They could just spawn with the super peppers. We're
Definitely.
not them.
Unfortunately, I feel like this fight doesn't help either team when it just lasts this long. Mustache Malabuka can't farm anything. But Mustache is being a distraction. Malabuka, meanwhile, chopping everything down. At some point, you have to realize, we're one of the players. Why do I hear an SMG, but the shots aren't firing at my builds? Something is wrong, and there we go. That's exactly what Coop and Frack end up figuring out, all the way up towards high ground. It's still looking kind of messy overall. There are no all-ins, but it's two teams that don't really like going for that super all-in, right? I mean, Coop kind of showed us how him and Frack like to fight against Toos. It took 5 minutes for them to finally go down.
It's very painful, and we're seeing that right now. Both teams have almost no materials to the name. Malabuka on the top with 10, on the bottom, Fraction with 2. And this is it. They basically utilized all of those. We see the chop down coming, but at the point where you start to see the spray coming on through, I was about to say, you're going to see another team jump in the box. That's exactly what Coop does right there, trying to capitalize on that split. No heals on Malabuka, so we're going to see him left on 70 HP. Let's see what we can do.
Third party, it's coming in. It's not just two teams now. This is tough. All the damage both teams have done. Lots of work, and Malabuka finally gets one. Turns around for the 2. That could be a huge refresh they need, but from all sides, it's pressure time, and they have to make sure they base up and get ready for this next fight.
Malabuka has no match. He doesn't realize he's still trying to hold at that moment. He's going to have to start just trying to hit a shot. It's Pickle and Melgard who are rotating their way through. Malabuka can't even jump up, can't heal, can't do anything. He just has to play pumps out, potentially SMGs out. He's going to the big angle. He hits the 72 shot, but no, he's tracked back at the same time. Now in HP, more shots connected. He's so difficult to hit, but unfortunately, it's going to be an end over run for him. And Pickle and Melgard are going to win that fight. 4 eliminations total to their name. Look at the loot that they have in their inventory. Absolutely stacked.
A vortex of chaos of spawn between all 3 teams. Have to be able to watch that one pack real quick. It seems like after every good fight, Fast Roki also gets an elim somewhere across the map. And that happened too. But yeah, Malabuka, this was really good movement, Reese, for him to at least be able to know what's going down with his teammate and try to get something happen.
I think the understanding that he had no materials came a little bit too late, however. Like, you saw a couple times trying to hold a wall where one doesn't exist, where Mustache had to take over instead. So they potentially could have won that fight. Realistically, like, none of us would have won that fight from that specific perspective. They're incredible fighters, but it's just the micro movements like that that could potentially turn something around. We'll see the next couple games, though, you know? Well, the next game, sorry, only one left.
Always used to the 6. Yeah, we have one less overall as well for some of the consistent teams that like to pop off a little bit later, right? You're mentioning Analyst like Squeeze. I feel like they're a back half team, no doubt, on days. They're also a back half team when it comes to games overall. Sometimes not finding their footings in game 1, 2, and 3, but then coming back in 4, 5, and 6. Reese, they don't have the 6. A bunch of those teams do not have the key ingredient to winning and qualifying for the next stage.
Absolutely not. This is a little replay of that fight that we just watched there. Pagan ABL. This is their draw spot where they went in qualifier number 2 as well, up against Diox and Wafar at the same time, and a little clap. Golf clap. Golf clap for the win.
That's what we like to see. There's a lot of emote options for a little bit of that BM, but I'm liking the clap. Keep it respectful.
Yeah, that's respectful. It's, you know, you could go way worse.
Seti, Chapix, when it comes to them, I'm not sure if the competition is getting worse off for this duo game after game, Reese, because they seem to be in better and better spots. But I'm not seeing a victory royale. And I know last game they survived all the way towards the very end, lost the control a little bit. Top 5 is great, but what's happening? Why isn't that consistent?
I mean, in all honesty, I think Sei struggled this season overall. I truly do. He struggled to find a teammate to start with. He started playing with Noah Rayleigh. That didn't work out. iDrop was in there, and then Chapix now. I think there may have also been another player at some point he was trying out with. And I feel like he's not got the, almost GOAT level status this season as he has in previous. I want to see the performances coming out from him. Potentially, it's just he's not been able to figure it out in duos as such as he had absolutely mastered and nailed in trios. He is an absolutely all-star player, undoubtedly, but I've just yet to see like the big performances that I hope will come in time for the finals, assuming obviously that they qualify.
Well, they have to over 3 days at least too. Big thing with that zone pulling to the bottom right, you saw it on the map. I saw some research done on Twitter. Usually I don't have the analytics myself, but here we go.
Yeah,
this zone, the bottom right side, only 16% of the time does it actually lock in terms of zone 1-2. A lot of the times you see games played on the top left side of the map, the northwest. That's about a 27% chance of the zone going that way. So when it comes to the zones entirely, it's like 27, 23, 22. The bottom right at 16. Not many players end up playing the game inside even second, third, fourth, especially endgame on this side of the map. So the adaptable players who like to play mid-ground, especially refs guard scram when it comes to the way we've been seeing them play today, they will be at a huge advantage. And I'm glad we're watching this POV because they're setting it up already, right, Reese? We got the gauntlets in hand, the web shooters. We have the whiplash as well to get past this hairy portion of the zone. They're so used to it now. We've kind of gotten used to watching refs guard and scram be outside of zone, go all the way from the top left to the bottom right of the map, but this will be the ultimate test to their game style.
Firstly, as you mentioned, these guys are not getting good zone RNG. These are a lot of south zones. They're a north zone team, but also because that zone's pulling into the kind of southeast side, with the Spider-Man's web shooters that they have, there's going to be a lot of trees that they can use. They can jungle their way through. They can swing all the way past. I think these guys could have some pretty easy rotates up until the 5th zone. Hopefully not caster cursing them as I say that at the same time, but this game is definitely set up for them to do well as long, just assuming that they can actually get into that position without being beamed on rotate like they are kind of right now.
I'm liking the driving from Scram. Refscar 2 is just there like, yeah, shoot at me. I dare you. Sanjay from up top does not even try to get another shot in. I'm pretty sure he did some damage, so that's really good. They save all their tires too. They can definitely use that whiplash later on. You got to remember the second zone, if you have vehicles, you want to keep them healthy, keep them alive. Hopefully have the tires online as well. Surge should be coming in soon too. He's 75 alive. There it is. Instantly locks in. That's what we like to see. 180 above for Disiptos and Gonzel. They're looking good today.
Yeah, one of the things actually that for them right now, they're in an okay spot, right? Notice like the layer that they're on. It's just like one layer off the ground. Not great, in all honesty, because the sight lines that they have over these hills isn't that far. But saying that, there is a lot of trees around them, so that extra layer or two elevation probably wouldn't actually open up their sight lines that much. You can see over to this side in particular, right? There's that hill right next to them where they're just cut off. Potentially, if they'd gone up a layer or two, that is the congested side of the zone. They might be able to get a little bit more tags on teams rotating. They're okay in Storm Surge now, but maybe for later zones, that's not going to be enough.
Not at all. They're still going to be consistent throughout the day. So is Scram. When it comes to Zcod and Andy, they had that one game of kind of limelight where they were on height, but then unfortunately past that, you know, it's either a whiplash in the business or Andy's down. So some teams going through some struggles. Kiko though, with Mosh, I mean, Mosh has been the one that's been more active. Usually we see Kiko with all the elims, the crazy man coming in, the youngin that just goes and dives into every box. But so far, Mosh has been carrying, I feel like, the elims throughout the day.
Definitely, but this zone in particular, this is a home zone for them. This is where they drop. This is the spot that they've been dropping through all the qualifiers. They've been battling left, right, and center for this. And it's actually Ziandi alongside Alex Cod who's been third-partying them off spawn so far. So we've got the two perspectives of the two teams who have kind of had that home zone opportunity for them. So for Kiko and Mosh, like, this is the time to shine, right? They've had that kind of early engagement already. They've got some surge ticked off. They're in a good spot in the zone. Let's just see what they can actually make of that now.
The one thing I like is the different personalities from teams. No way, Rayad.
Dead on red.
That's like a Spider-Man 2 POV straight out of the movie. That is just tough. Oh my goodness. In a game 4 as well, right before the next one. You
both of them at the same time.
Were they both alive there? That's both of the same exact things? No way. I don't like replaying that stuff a lot of them. gotta see a replay of that possibly. Was it a shot?
You'll see a replay
man.
on Twitter. I guarantee that on Twitter right now.
Don't let it distract you from the Storm Surge issues you're seeing right now. Some of the solutions that this team's having. Mosh and Kiko, usually, I mean, you saw it before. Teams struggled to get some damage down, but Mosh finds a knock and almost an elimination, almost two. Inside the zone, still 4 below. They need one more shot.
Trying to go for the double spray through the wall, and 72, so 2 more players still need to go down, and they're literally 1 bullet. If they connect with a single one of these, that's going to put them up above the threshold. And all the teams around them right now who have ears on them understand that these guys are weak. Now with that big beam coming through onto Mosh, the Chug Splash is wasted at this time. Any team in this vicinity will understand that these guys are weak. They can set up traps for this. You've got guys like Q-Roll, I think, on that far west side from them right now, who could easily just try and set up a trap and let these guys push in. But no, the team below them on the threshold has actually gone down. So now they are up above. And they're just okay, but now look at what has been drained from that. So many heals. All of the Chug Splash is gone. The only heals remaining now being 2 bigs and 2 minis.
A lot of the times you can use those heals to end up taking zone a little bit to use your mobility in endgame. They won't have that option. Scram and Earthstar is showing us exactly how to web zip and whip properly, all the way up to a recyclable launch pad that just spawns with the zone, with the game. They'll be able to use it and have a free rotation in. But I like the fact, Reese, that they wait a little bit for a lot of teams to get ahead first, take some of that pressure, the distraction, and then follow their builds in from one of the sides. Everyone's focused on low ground. You're talking about the trees. This is why I like that call out, Reese. They get in almost perfectly, no damage taken, and that's just a great swing from them.
Yeah, talking of swings, some of them aren't always going to be as fortunate as others.
Oh, man.
We're going to have a replay of exactly what goes on.
What happened? One shot?
They got shot
That's
out. Vino shot them both out on their swing as they were going. You have to be careful when you're at high elevations with it. If you get sprayed out, that will still give you that fall damage. That's rough. We're both at the same time.
You know what? At least they went down together. You know, that's the one thing. As teammates.
Brothers. Yeah.
Brothers, yeah.
That's definitely gonna grow their chemistry as a duo.
Yeah, definitely gonna get the voice comms active inside the lobby before the game.
I'm opening Stena Twitter right now.
I want to see the zone with Seti and Chapix. They're aimed in for the moment, and they actually get one of the best positions in zone. I feel like if this base is actually in, get to basically be the airport security, right? Just get to see who comes in and goes out completely all the way down to the final wire. They get to even influence who's beside them. And I like the fact, you were mentioning it, Reese, before, sight lines, having them perfectly situated. They actually build up a little bit more because there are mountains and trees across, and now they have even more angles.
I mean, these guys are veteran Storm Surge players at this point. Like Seti in particular, a player I rarely see struggle with Storm Surge. Chapix, another one of those players who is always able to capitalize on players who are being tagged by Surge, right? Able to really take advantage of that. But another one of the reasons why they're elevating there is, notice that's the congested side of the zone, the north side. A lot of those players are going to rotate into them, and if they're in a low layer, they're going to get built over. So if they're just built up a little bit, a lot of those players will be down below underneath them, giving them that good height for that later zone, hopefully if they end up pulling fit.
That's the POV of a team that's actually bunkered down and ready to go when it comes to playing the zone. For Analytics, squeeze kind of more nomads overall, and they lose one of the tires. This was a win condition for Seti and Chapix. It's a win condition for Analytics and XP's 2 to have that vehicle up, save a lot of materials, and get towards other portion of the game. That will not be an option now. Still 111 points for them. 74 for Scram overall. That's kind of our top 6 POV entirely, so they're still doing good.
Yeah, the zone's still not great though. Like they've managed to use the Spider-Man to get a little bit closer, but they still have a lot more to go, and look at how many people are in front of them. 153 below, now 77 below the Storm Surge with a long way to rotate, but this is the best reason why you're going to stagger like this. They get to the midpoint of the zone, spray the people at the front who are using those launch pads, get their tags off, and then rotate, but it's still not been enough yet.
Have to solve this puzzle though. Scram on the left side. Let's you William already in. They're swinging right behind everyone's builds and aren't even shot. Build all the way up. A few errors in switching materials, but it's all good. Scram finally taking some of the first damage we've seen this duo take. And the first shield crack leads to absolute demise. Scram is down.
That's the risk with staggering like that, right? They let the other players catch up, but then they could be held from that exact same thing. Resguard now left as a solo with almost no hard materials. Luckily, oh, the big beam's coming out on the way to travel back, to clap back to get the Storm Surge up above yet again, which was fantastic. But as a solo, again, is this going to be Vitriol? This has to be some point for the leaderboard to try and get them from 6th where they currently are, hopefully to stay there.
Yeah, they are the line that every single person in this lobby is trying to cross. Sulium and Lecce looked comfortable before, but that bed quickly has its springs wrung out, and they are uncomfortable now inside the lobby, waiting for the next game. Andalex, first place overall POV of the lobby in terms of consistency. Can they escape with a win? Are they fine being here and just leading game after game? They've got 2 more to bunker down and hold it with, though, and they're still controlling that low ground.
Any team right now is comfy on a bed with springs. This is a hotel bed for Andalex next squeeze. Their comfort is through the roof right now. Materials refreshed. They're in a great, I was going to say great position in zone, but they've just pulled a max distance zone. So maybe spoke a little bit too early, but they do have that whiplash box up there, which I'm not sure if it has been destroyed at this point, but they can rotate around the south, the dead side. Notice all the players who are congested up on that north, they may be able to go down the south. But for Raphael and Crazy, they managed to get themselves a little launch pad and get ahead anyway.
Early pad, everyone's still worried and figuring out what to do. They skip that entire pressure moment. Fast Roki on the box, and you can smell him. He sees Refsmart. He's found out. You cannot hide from Fast Roki, and he picks up that free elimination. It will hinder him in time. Every team has to move.
That's huge for Refsguard in a negative way as well. He was sick. Now going down before the zones start going, the placement hasn't really even started to kick in yet. So this leaderboard switch up is going to be massive going into the final game. So for next game, we have to keep an eye on Refsguard and Scram if they're going to be able to keep up in the leaderboard.
Who's trying to pass them right now? Who can take over their mantle? It's Seti and Chapix on screen. Vortexia also down. Pickle ends up screaming as he gets taken out. Melody denied by Besiptos and Relvis. So everyone is alive, but that's on the backside. It's Besiptos going down on a trade. Seti and Chapix were looking at their box. They were literally at the top side, at the pinnacle of this zone, and they pull the next one again.
Disiptos and Kinzo there were in 5th as well. So currently our 5th and 6th place teams are out. Seti and Chapix, who is in 7th, is easily going to be able to overtake them if they manage to have a massive game here. If not, just pick up the victory royale, whilst our first place team of Andalex and X-Squeeze are still in it as well.
At the top of the ladder, they're looking down at the rungs fall, and Andalex and X-Squeeze are happy about it. No team to be able to come up and catch up. All the ones that are important are falling one by one. All they need to do is make sure this zone run, this maximum pull, the distance works, and they're inside the vehicle. It's at 1/4 of HP, 85, and they finally get out. So greedy, but it works.
Yeah, Seti and Chapix in the bottom left. Noah and Aqua in the bottom left, actually. I meant the other direction. I don't know mine either. But here we go. The ball started to jump in, and the players at the backside, Noah and Aqua, probably going to have to start to go for high ground at some point. But no, they're getting an engagement with Flodax, the team that they're fighting off spawn at the opposite side. They're deciding to disengage, not get into that full engagement. But look at the materials, 39. This is not a game-winning loadout. As the players start to go past the box, they get in. Noah's down. Aqua also down at the same time. Flip-flop all over the place. But up on high ground, the team who's managed to keep things sturdy, keep the concrete under their feet is Joe and Vino up on high ground.
You can hear it. Peace, tranquility for Joe and Vino, but it's interrupted quickly as Relvis comes straight all the way up for height again. This man can't stop. He's hungry for it. He had one taste, and he gets denied a dish. Best served cold is revenge for Joe and Vino on that one. They were denied in that game number 3. This time, they're not going to be there to be able to get stopped at all. The people that were stopping them off spawn, not here whatsoever. Tace and Thomas have gone straight to the finals, so height will be free for them for now. Seti and Chapix, though, on mid-ground, they're going to have some trouble navigating this layer.
Still got plenty of materials left to their name, but notice they're still in 7th place right now. They haven't even overtaken the 2 teams who managed to be eliminated by them at this moment. So great positioning awareness from him, but they're going to have to ensure that they keep going deeper into the zones if they're going to be able to up on the leaderboards.
17 teams still inside the business, and one person straight on their floors. It could be an easy pickup, but it's going to be on the left side. Fast Roki jumping up and down in the box, trying to feed Kylie of this trap, and Seti and Chapix will not be able to capitalize just yet. Flodax goes down, and everyone has a moment of peace before that zone locks in again.
This looks like it's going to be Joe and Vino's game to win. They're set up for victory right now, up on high ground, but down on the mid. Sehi and Japix still managing to tunnel their way through, down to only Wood remaining. This is the point where these players are going to go for a refresh. The pre-edit play comes in. The double spray comes down with a high power rate weapon. The player dropped into their box, but no, he's managed to escape, get out. They're going for it yet again, but those players have disengaged. They've dissed out of there, and it's not going to be the player that they can pick up the elimination on.
X squeeze down to the zone on the backside. It's Milad who's fighting him way in the past in a different game entirely. Meanwhile, in the current present, looking to the future, Vino and Joe are on high ground. All in on their materials, though. It's Wood. The reconnect is there. Positioning perfect from Joe and Vino. No pressure whatsoever, and no team close enough to be able to take height. They control the launch pads. They control the air. Meanwhile, at the ground, it's Chapix now face to face with absolute destruction, and he goes down too. They will not be able to secure a position for a win, but for Joe and Vino, this looks too easy.
It is Clement left as a solo, losing Floki out. This is just a day of solo pop-offs, and here we go with Clement now. 0 builds to his name, the player down below underneath his box. He's going to have to start aiming, getting the shot through. The 90 connects, but no, the zone is not catching up. He's only got 3 seconds of tick. It's talked, and he's out.
Absolutely too close for him right there, but still up on height. It's free. Like rain, these shots are firing straight to the ground, and there is no umbrella to be able to stop the damage. Vino and Joe are looking too good here. 5 eliminations. No team I see at the moment is there healthy enough to wrap them up and try to contest them up top in this game. Milad finally down as well. Vico and Yaish are moving in, but they're also just completely confused and razzled as to where to go. They're looking up, getting denied. Matt's not looking too good either. All on Wood. Sindri down to Krusty. They're falling down to the low ground. It's Fast Stroker gets picked apart on the right side. Another big edit. Cone slide in, and Vico's making it look too good and easy. They have a little bit of control, and they might have a chance to go for that final 2v2.
This could be the first time they make a finals. These are the newcomers, the pop-offs of the season. Vico been streaming everything all season, making the finals the cash cup, solo, duos, whatever it is, and this could be their time to shine. But up on high ground, Vino and Joe are getting the height taken from them. Vino's got no materials, so he has to drop down as the 1v1 goes up onto the height. It's a solo. I gotta think it's maybe hard find, but Vino starts to go up on the swing, and the huge shot up down, and the massive down below. Vino has been training the aim since all starts. He's hitting the shots that matter. It's a 2v1 situation. This is a highlight moment of his career right now to qualify him through for the finals. It's a 1v1 because Joe has gone down at the backside of the zone, and it's going to go to Vino and Joe with 8 eliminations.
Vino, that was insane. A swing, a hit, no misses, just bangers from the man, and that is how you qualify to finals.
That is a highlight play for the books right there. The swing up onto height using the Spider-Man, the max damage, the drop to low ground, another max damage. Absolutely clinical. This is why people rate this player so high for Vino.
That is the best play of the entire chapter, possibly, that I've seen in semifinals in general. We've had reboot rounds that get crazy, but I've never seen such clinical precision like this. A pixel to hit, and he does it. Snap, instant, inhuman reactions. I mean, Vino, this should not be possible.
I keep talking about Twitter clips. If this isn't on Twitter in the next 2 minutes whilst we're here, I don't know what's going on. That is absolutely incredible. You got to think the impact that this is going to have on the drop swaps now that Tayson and Thomas HD have qualified from Kondo, or not Kondo at the same time, sorry, Covert. They're so similar. They're both C's, you know? They've both qualified from this drop swap now. That now leaves it open for other teams to go there. They're noticing that launchpad potential is going to be there in that drop swap. Players are winning from there. I think in this next game we could see a ton of players switch that up.
Hey, Covert Cavern is running our entire semifinal so far today, and the best clips we've seen throughout the day. So Zeke, Levin, Sundown, what else can we expect from such a drop?
Fortnite fam, I'm so thankful you guys could not see my physical body just absolutely flailing like a fish out of water after watching Vino's performance. Literally, we interviewed him, and he said one of the biggest tips that he could teach someone is knowing when to turn it on. And in that moment, that literally flashed before his eyes. This is my opportunity. We can go to finals right here. And Levin, Reese, this happens after Tayson and Thomas win the last game, right? So they dip. That means that they start this game with Covert uncontested and then immediately come back to win, Levin?
It's this moment right here when he realizes no materials, I've got to make a play, and he drops down and instantly hits the one striker pump that I'll be real. There are not many things you will see better than that when watching Fortnite. That was truly beautiful. And then the win as well. Wow. Vino, I'm honestly lost for words. That was just spectacular.
Yeah, those might have been one of just like the best all-around clips ever of showing what you're capable of and just going up, no builds whatsoever. It reminds me a lot of the Boyer clip all the way back in Winter Royale, where it's like you work with the resources you're given, and then sometimes you just put it all together, and it's beautiful. And I mean, the left-handed shot when swinging up, and that's what he was going for. He can't throw himself up above. He's not going to take that 50-50. He was trying to get that first shot, and then the insta 152 on the way down. That was just the cherry on top, the icing on the cake, whatever metaphor Shy Wager wants to use, throw them all right there.
The walking paradox himself, my goodness. I mean, once again, when it just comes down to raw technical ability, you're seeing it put on full display from Vino there in just literally 5 seconds. 5 seconds of gameplay. Absolutely ridiculous. And we cannot forget, this means Covert Cavern is now completely open. And this is it, guys. We have one game left to try and get either a victory royale or to jump up into top 6 and hope to just make it through in semifinals day 1. There's still so much to play for, and there's still so much that can happen. Really quickly, I just want to touch on another duo, though. Seti and Chapix. I mean, we keep seeing them make it to the end game. They keep making waves on whatever layer they're on, and this could be their opportunity, Levin. They very well could pick up the victory out now.
Yeah, and it's going to have to come at some point. Two of the better players in the region, you know, Resource was waxing lyrical about them earlier, and rightfully so, because these are names that rightfully they shouldn't be in the semis, if we're just being real. And so you'd expect them to be already in the finals, but they've got to pick things up. They've got to find some sort of rhythm in these end games, because like you said, they just keep having these issues where they're getting caught in the backside. They're not quite able to have the game you'd expect them to have. I'm worried about them. I am starting to get worried, but they have so many more games. They have a couple other sessions as well. And ideally, you don't want to have to go to session 2 and 3 if you're in session 1, but there is those options there for them.
Yeah, and we've already seen a ton of veterans going through. Basically, everyone except Vortex has been in the scene forever. So if you think somebody who's going to win Game 5 when all the pressure is on, I would want to give it to one of those duos who has been around for a while. With that being said, though, I could also see Andalex and Xqueeze stealing the spot away when they've already ended up being in the top 6. So if that ends up happening, there's a lot of potential for somebody to push up into just kind of that second, that third place spot, get a bunch of eliminations, and steal away a qual in this final game.
It is absolutely insane. Sundown, anything can happen. Game number 6, we've seen it time and time and again, and we're going to see it again. Vino and Joe, they do claim one of those spots. Now, don't forget, we still have 2 more days of this, all right? Nobody freak out. This is just day number 1, okay? We get 2 more days of crazy action like this, swapping up duos coming in saying, no, we watched yesterday, we VOD reviewed, we're ready, we know Covert's open, we know that POI is open, and we're gonna alpha up on this other one. Absolutely insane. Here it is, okay? Check this out. Steady
4 through 9.
We just talked about, right? Like, this is so insane. And just think, after 2 more days of Fortnite action, these names that we're so used to seeing from FNCS to FNCS may not make it to finals. Sundown. It's a scary thought.
Yeah, but they still have plenty of time. Don't forget, there's one more game today.
Yes.
Then our top 6 will be going through. Then there's 5 matches tomorrow, and there's 6 on Sunday. So still plenty of Fortnite to be played if you're in that first pool of duos. But each match that passes is one less opportunity. And as we've seen, duos are seizing their opportunities and they're running with it. So you need somebody who, as Vino says, you know, just turn it all the way on, Levin, right? Just turn it on, easy.
Yeah.
So good. This is it, Fortnite fam. Game number 5 here in Europe. Let's see how this all unfolds. Who will claim the victory royale, and which teams will end in that top 6 spot? Reese, Shy Wager, back over to you.
Thank you very much, the Zeke and the boys. Look, our leaderboard's setting up real nicely right now. That 4th through to 9th is really important, because that top 6, like I mentioned, is the teams who are going to qualify. 1 point between 1, 1, 1 all the way down. It's looking super duper close right now. I'm excited to get this next game and figure out who's getting that final victory royale, but also who that top 6 is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's a waterfall of a leaderboard, basically, right? Any single droplet here and there can change the whole flow of how things look. And we still have one winner, right? 33rd place, 50th place overall. I still have trios in my mind. It doesn't matter. They win the game. It's a low ground clutch. It's a Vino moment. They're going to the finals. It's the final game now, game 5 of session 1. Let's get the semis rocking.
Semis is rocking, but we will be rolling into game number 5, the final match of the day. The one victory royale to separate everyone. Every single team that goes down off spawn now absolutely critical to the leaderboards and their chances at making the finals. We're starting off yet again at the Daily Bugle. The fight, the 50-50 between Noah Aqua and alongside Splash's team.
Line 4, team roll in. Maybe one down. The fall damage. Splash is trying his best to stay alive. Jams it on. Aqua has a grasp, a firm hold on the neck of the Bugle, and he wins once again. It's going to be an easy wrap up, but can they do anything with this, Reese? The third game, they're free from the Daily Bugle, but the third game where they struggle to stay alive in the end game.
I'm not feeling so confident anymore, you know? I'm really not. I mean, we need to calm down. My voice, I'm all over after that last game. You know, I got chairs right now. I want to focus on this. I want to see the Aqua and Noah. I want to see them absolutely dominate, right? The first 2 games we saw, they didn't come off spawn. They lost it. This has been a complete flip round now that they've managed to obviously win off spawn. They've got the loot that they need. They're absolutely stacked on this kind of west side of the Daily Bugle. But like we mentioned, they're just not capitalizing on it when it comes to the end games. I don't know if the height retakes aren't good. I don't know. You know, we've not seen a huge amount of the actual fun. We did see that the mid game actually, last game was a bit shambles from them. So hopefully this game they can kind of turn it around.
Hopefully Aqua all turned around right now. Splash getting a big shot right onto him with that shotgun. Unfortunately though, he's starting to get a little bit taken over. He had the element of surprise. That's gone. Now it's just pressure and bullets from all sides. 2 mats left now. Has to utilize position, the staircase, but the chunk splashes will give away what Larry's about to go on from, so they know he's below 1 floor to block. But now it's time to just run.
Yeah, see what he can do. See if he can work his way around. But no, to figure him out. That's a single build over with. See if the shots can connect. That SMG strong, but I'm not sure if it's a 1v2 strength, and it's not. That's going to be the over for Splash. So Splash was in 24th place before going down there. He's not going to qualify through, but there are still 2 more games for them.
Oh my God, free heavy shotgun shot just completely missed. That's what happens when it's so accurate. The damage is there, but it still doesn't matter. Vico will end up trading his life for that pick, so the timing might be off. But when it comes to Aqua and Noah Riley, it seems like they're the duo that's the comb that can go against the grain of this lobby. A lot of the times by that last game, everyone ends up kind of getting a little bit more passive, playing for the end game. I've seen Aqua and Noah Riley, when they're on the same team, turn things up, get a little bit more aggressive. They might not even be shooting for the win here. They might just try to rack up elim points or just a lot of points in general, force the lobby to play to their pace and hit top 6.
Nah. They're going for the win.
Oh?
Nah, they're going for the win. Yeah. 46 points at this point. Let me hit a little refresh on the leaderboard, do some mental arithmetic or strong suit for today. They probably need, I don't know, a 10, 15 elimination
45
game.
points, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and let's be real, with the playstyle, the understanding that Aqua and Noah put out there, it's win. It's a victory royale moment. Remember, if we go back to the actual Grand Royale, Aqua in the final game of the qualifier was the team who ended up winning it. So, you know what? Maybe history will repeat itself.
Seen a lot of historical performances today as well, just from certain players, certain pop-offs we were expecting that didn't come true. Nice block from Aqua there too. Just stopping the rhythm of that shotgun, that's the key to kind of triumphing over it, right? Like you want to make sure when you're up against the auto shotty, you want to, you know, maybe block off one of the shots, force the next person to build, because the pullout time is so long for the gun to get online again.
It's interesting, it actually has a really high damage output, DPS, but
yeah,
most people don't hit the shots because it's such a large spread. You know, if you're not in their face, you know, sometimes you're better off just using the SMG to spray back. You're going to hit a higher amount of DPS damage onto those opponents at that time. But you know what? In these early game fights, sometimes you don't have many options to choose from. We've seen a lot of players rock with a heavy shotgun, which I honestly think you have to be good at this season.
Open up the dictionary right now, and I'm looking at the word desperation. It's linking me to these teams in the broadcast for the moment. 33rd, 23rd, and 16th. None of these guys are close towards the top 6. They all need the win. They need the mats, the refreshes, the elims as well. It's tough overall for Coop too. They have just swapped from drop to drop to drop, and they're trying to go all in at Covert Cavern. They understand, Reese, that 2 teams aren't here, right? The 2 teams that have won, but I think every other person on the map understands that too. I'm seeing strangers that I'm not used to in this spot. Kane and Cruel are the only ones that actually live here.
Yeah, it's interesting because Flois is the team who's definitely switched over. Coop is still rotated through instead after switching their drop off multiple times. And it seems now, obviously, Indret has just been finished by Cruel there in the feed. So it's not working out for the team who's managed to switch up. Kane and Cruel are setting themselves up for a big victory, especially, you know, they're only 23rd on the leaderboard. So they need to win this game to qualify through.
They are kind of in their, you know, post, what's it called, the next day after leg day, so to speak. Like, what I'm trying to say,
they're in the
on height, their calves are just shivering, man. I feel like I've seen them in good spots, but they just choke. It's been 2 games at least that they've made it towards mid-end game, but I don't think they have that experience of just winning a game at this caliber overall. Maybe we have some stats on the back end to see how they do in semis and finals overall, but it seems like today it's just not been online.
Worst thing about the leg day is the second day after that, though.
That's what I'm saying.
They're in the day after right now. I'm thinking about tomorrow. How are they going to do when it comes to that second day? I'm worried for their stability, I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, I feel like with the experience was still going onwards, it's really good to play a game when all aspects of your game are under your control. When you have a drop spot that's so contested, so splintered, and every game it's changing, that's where maybe you don't have the stability in your legs or anything at all. So tomorrow when they're rolling in, maybe no team comes to Covert. That is an untrue statement because we know they're probably going to be 3 again. But they've had 6 games or 5 games of experience today rolling in, you know, at least against 2 God squads and know how to just break it down.
Well, for Kane and Cruel, like, the thing is, anytime they've got to a set lobby environment, they've not managed to be in the top 10 at all, right? So when it came to all the 3 cash cups they made finals for 3 of them, not managed to get a victory royale in any of them, and the best placement was 12th. So it's like, they're not really hitting the markers they need to, but this team has never made it to an FNCS finals before. So, you know, there are a new team that are more inexperienced team this season that are on the come up. So if they're managed to pop off the victory royale, like, this is a first time for them. They're managed to make it a first time in the finals, which, you know, we all love to see, let's be real.
Yeah, emerging moment on the big stage. That's what we want to see entirely. 2 duos as well when we're talking about finals. They're returning from the previous MNCS duos final. This is like ultimate trivia of the past. Who are they?
Refsguard Scram #1.
Yeah.
It's 2 duos. I'm gonna look at the duo list. Just I could screen share if you want. I'm not checking the replays. I have a horrible memory. I just want to scroll down who they are.
Refsguard Scram is one of them. Is it Mustache Malabuka is the other, or am I?
No. I think it's. I've got one in my brain.
Yeah.
I think it's Tusen Putrick.
Tusen Putrick? They've told us this stat like last week. I should remember this.
Yeah.
I think it might be Tusen Putrick.
I think it is. I'm gonna check if I'm right. Actually, wait, I can check because I've got that.
They're gonna tell us in like 3 seconds.
No, I was wrong. Oh well.
Oh, you were wrong? I'm not locking that in actually. I'm gonna lock in something else entirely. It's gonna be Floki
Clement. Actually, no.
Nice.
That's a rookie. That's a rookie move, man. That's a rookie move. At least you know I didn't cheat now.
Oh, I completely cheated, you know? That's just how it goes. I literally had this conversation, I think, with analytics and everyone in the call. I still don't remember. Unfortunate. What I do remember, though, is Coop's entire day so far. It's been rough with Frack.
Clement played with Kaizen in Chapter 2.
Oh, okay, true. So a little bit of a
unless it was in some of the qualifiers. So I'm just putting that one out there.
What we do know, though, is that after this duos finals, many other duos are going to want to come back again as well for the next one. So we'll see how it rocks and rolls. Travis and Seti, although they might not be, you know, teammates that played together in the last duos finals or anything like that, in this one, I feel like they're finally kind of finding their form of being halfway 24/7 between 2 good angles and spots. It just seems like sometimes they're kind of tossed a bit too wide in that decision. They get stretched apart a little bit too much in making decisions back and forth. You're talking about shadowing each other. Teams do a good job of that overall. But what are the issues we're seeing so far today from them?
A lot. Unfortunately, you know, like, firstly, if you look at like the Victory Royale stats, you know, trying to get a win isn't their play style. Not necessarily. They're going to play from the low ground. We've seen them in some of the cash cups get 10 elimination Victory Royales from the low, but not necessarily the guys that are going to go up in the high ground in this. And they're not managed to get deep into those end games. They're not able to get that like good layer, the good tarping. You know, they need a good setup, right? It's that mid game. It's the 5th zone prior to that. If they get there with like a cap materials, they're totally fine. But they're not managing to get into that position. So it's the early and mid they're really struggling with here.
Once again, we're down to Rocky Reels, South Zone 24/7. I'm thinking about Refsguard and Scram right now and how, you know, buffed up their calves must be. We're talking about leg day a little bit previously, but every North team has had to move over and over and over again towards this desert zone. And I feel like that's a good and a bad thing overall, because obviously having that rotation is tough. But a lot of the times the teams that lose or end up having some of those split decisions not go the right way, they end up learning a lot more over the day, and their later games get that much stronger. So if there is a power game for you know, regarde and Scram to clock in, it has to be this one. They've learned the patterns. You saw them overcome crazy zones, Reese, and this one's not that bad.
Well, I think what's also interesting is the fact that when you get far zones, a lot of time you can capitalize on that for Storm Surge much better. Like you saw them, they're boxing up really high on the edge of the congested side, so players can rotate through, they can be totally fine. Whereas other players who pull zone, kind of like X-Squeeze and Andlex, sit on that kind of less congested side, the dead side of the zone, and a lot of the times they struggle more with Surge. Not this game in particular, but it's a really interesting dichotomy of being able to get zone or not.
Exactly, and even if they do or don't, the identity I put on regarde and Scram, like from day one, no matter on what team they're on, is just their duo synergy. The fact that they're like glue together. And for some reason today, that identity is not showing through, right? Where we see them mess up just in that previous game we just watched is them not shadowing each other, not staying side by side. regarde goes first. I think it was Scram that goes first, gets shot up a little bit. regarde's left by himself. It seems like when these guys move, they're no longer the regarde and Scram on rotation that we used to, you know, fanboy over and look at how good they are sticking together. There's something different today. It might just be them really wanting to win.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, they're on the bubble, realistically.
Yeah.
They're so close to qualifying. This game is what it all comes down to. Can they hit the top 6 threshold? And this match is the last one, right? And again, like we've already mentioned, they are at a negative with the zone. They're going to have to rotate that max distance. With them boxing up on that full congested side, they're going to have to choose when to rotate then. And like you said, hopefully they stick together and make that deep rotation. But we'll have to see when it comes to that next zone.
Every time I watch them, I want to mention that, just looking at how they're actually moving. Are they together? Docs and Skies, who they work the best when they're actually bullying other teams. They like to ping pong between different boxes, go for these aggressive fights, try to get as many refreshes as possible. It worked in game number 1. They got close a little bit towards the end, but every other game after that, they've been kind of denied. Basketball stuffed on the backboard, and this time too, going for a party, or not a party, a little bit of a fight on the right side, but get third partied from the bottom side. This is beside Tilted. We know it's a hub that everyone likes to move through completely, right, Reese? So they're gonna have a lot of teams visiting their box.
Depends what your definition of a party is, really.
True.
Yeah, I've been to some parties that look like this, unfortunately.
You edit walls? Some drywall stuff at parties? Is that what you do?
I just meant, you know, there's 2 people, they're fighting, it's kind of lame.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, this is actually not entirely what I wanted to say, but that doesn't matter. But yeah,
oh, Reese likes to do some construction at parties. I mean, if you guys want to, you know, go crazy and remodel your living room,
yeah,
this is the guy.
Hit me up. Hit the Twitter DM. But again, actually, importantly, this is against regarde and Scram, right? We mentioned the position they set up in. They are now absolutely chilling on Surge. You can see 528 above in that bottom right there. Amplify and Flowdax, the team that's trying to fight them. You know, it's a bit of a sad story, actually, for Flowdax in particular. He was duoing with Rifty for the entire season. They look super good this season, a really good up-and-coming duo. But Rifty actually is on holiday. It's not that sad because he's in Brazil, so it could be worse. But at the same time, it's like he wasn't able to play the finals, so they ended up switching duos at last minute. And making it here to semi-finals for Flowdax with Amplify is really, really good. It would be really cool to see kind of Flowdax in particular make it through to the finals, just based on the situation that he's had to switch up his teammate that he's been playing with really well.
Everyone really adapting well to change. Lots of duos looking hungry right now too. So let's talk about stakes. And I'm not talking the meat, I'm talking about, you know, what we're looking at inside these games. We've been focusing on the victory royale game after game, because whoever wins goes straight forward to the finals. Now in game 5 out of 5, I know you're usually used to watching 6 back home, but this is the final game of the night so far for EU. And the top 6 also qualify through consistency. So you can see on the bottom left, you'll see the teammates, you know, name card, and right above them, the number overall. Even on that big fly in, the camera angles up in the air, you'll see some numbers beside some teammates. That is their place overall. For Wox and Milad, who are down on Surge right now, they're 23rd overall. This might be the end of their journey today. But focus on who is in the top 6, because whoever that is will also qualify for finals. And that storyline is finally coming into fruition in this game, as it is the last game.
I would also probably extend that out maybe to, like, if you see a team who's in the top 10, absolutely the team who can qualify as well. You know the top 6 are the teams who are in the qualification slot, but if they're in the top 10, like Rescar and Scrammas that we're flying past right now, we have the absolute perfect chance for these guys to clutch up. In particular, we've mentioned these guys multiple times this game, but it is just because they are on the bubble and they're in such a strong position in terms of their materials, in terms of their HP, surge, everything. We know this is the game that they could pop off in.
And they're at 75 points overall. In terms of 6th, it'll be Seti and Chapix that we're looking at right now. They are at 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Yeah, it is Seti and Chapix, just double checking. Math has been rough today. They're at 89 points. So there is a gap. There's a gap right now. 14 points overall. The rest of Scram need to climb over. While Seti and Chapix are alive, they've been coming in really good spots overall. 4th place, 13th, 10th. They're getting placement. This looks tough for every team behind them.
Yeah, this is the bubble right now. We see 90 points now that the next placement threshold has kicked in. This is the team who's currently in 6th place. Remember, it could all switch up, though. If a team in the top 6 manages to pick up a victory royale, that threshold is going to go down because they will auto-qualify through. But remember, any team that you're seeing, if you see them above that threshold, they are going to overtake it and be in the qualification slot.
So we're looking at 90 points. That is what's there to beat. And Seti's the one defending it for now. Ziptos 88 right there. Aqua and O'Reilly, you can see the differences. One team on the bottom right side who's playing consistent. Right there, it's pressure. One team on the bottom left that's just been rough and looking for the win. Instead, with 47 points, it's impossible to catch up to 90 now.
Look at Deceptos and Kinzel. This is the team, like we said, on the bubble. Super close to qualify. Only 2 points behind, but still in 8th place. That should tell you how close things are, but in the map in the bottom right. Look at the congestion on the edge of the zone. So many players will need to make this rotate, and with Kinzel Deceptos down to 70 builds each, they have a couple peppers, but look at the sheer amount of players who are all going to have to rotate at the same time. It's a game of cat and mouse. Who's going to go first? Who's going to create the builds to tunnel in? Say on the other side of the zone, struggling a little bit, but nowhere near as much as the rest of them.
It's a crescent moon of players on the left side, and the sun is about to rise. This is going to be tough. 16 seconds until they have to move, leave the desert, leave the cold night into greener pastures on the right. But at the same time, there's a river all the way in between. There's so many teams based up right above the reels looking at free tags. And even Seti, who's on a very dead type of side on the right, there's still a few teams around him. He's getting picked apart from all angles.
Rough for him. Deceptos almost going down there, down to 5 HP before he pops the med mist. Keeping himself back up, but again, not made the rotation. The majority of the players in the zone have managed to push them there. There's also below Storm Surge 119. This is probably one of the most pivotal rotations he's going to make this season. 8th place on the leaderboard. So much below Storm Surge. Has to manage to make his way in. And then on top of that, do something, deal some damage. This could be the player I was going to say that he does it against, but no, it is his teammate instead, as Kinzel. I was thinking the big one pump might come out there, this unaware player, but no, he's laying his teammate in.
Yeah, Deceptos with the unusual strat of med misting in front of a player in a box. Not his show. That's his teammate. That's his partner. I like these predator walls, but gotta remember, you cause noise, everyone else notices, it might just absolutely break down Jenga Tower style. This is not going to be something you're going to be looking forward to. You want to make sure all pieces solidified, your base looks good, but at the same time, 170 damage below, it might be time to topple the tower. Deceptos and Kinzel inside the box, and this will be good damage. It's not going to be enough, though. Yes, a refresh. Yes, elimination points is going to be good, but just 8 above. That'll be 16 below momentarily. They're going back and forth. A seesaw of doom. They want to be on the top side.
Yeah, still 8 players need to go down, and this surge threshold just going to get worse and worse unless they pick up one of the teams that's actually above them on the leaderboard. But right now, Mirza's up above him in the lobby, and they're going to go for that double spray because he seems to be a solo. The surge now ticking down on his HP. They know it. They can't out-heal it. They're going to start jumping into the box. It seems like, yeah, the 2v1 situation comes. They understand that he is just a solo in that box since it's just a single there, but no shots connected, no luck at all. They're going to have to look for players that are managing to tarp onto this next zone at any point. But here we go, still 7 players need to go down, 16 below. 1 bullet will put them over at this point, but they just can't seem to connect. The padders hit. Please! Kinzel, please! No! And they're down to 89 below. It's over, it seems like, potentially for them. Kinzel goes down to Siptos. No, he manages to pick up the elimination to Mirza, and he's above the threshold.
Above the threshold, but at what cost? Lost inside the zone. The miss will only tick for a little bit. He's found the pad, gliding in, but his teammate is down. At 6th place, now he is the line. The work done there, I mean, if you want to call it work, it got him to this point, but all the eggs are in Deceptos' basket. He has to carry his team across the line and stay alive in 6th place.
almost no ammo to work with when it comes to the AR either, so he can't even spray to pick up eliminations to get some of that siphon back. On high ground, Seti and Chapix, however, on the commanding position in the lobby, 5th on the leaderboards overall. All they need to do is have a good game here, and this should be a guaranteed qualification from them. Unlike Deceptos, who we know is on the bubble as a solo with nothing to work with on the low ground, this is gonna be intense, ain't it?
Definitely is. We saw Seti and Chapix in this position, though. They had a max moving zone. This time they get the zone and can work with it. That being said, I know there's a bunch of launch pads up and around. Where's Kane and Cruel? I just saw them right on Seti's POV. They have 2 pads to work with and can really interrupt height. They're in a very good spot near the backside as well to do so. The question is, can Seti and Chapix hold on?
If you're them, you don't want to hold on to height. You want to hold on in the game for placement, but you are not trying to go. There's going to be players trying to psycho up, trying to hit the launch pad, and here we go. This is the moment. Moving zones have begun. This is the time where the placement's really going to start kicking in. Seti and Chapix just need to do something good here.
There might be 20 teams that end up landing on them right here. There's only about 6 that want to see apart the whole game, so rightfully so. They back up in the zone. They launch pad out. They'll be safe for now. Deceptos by himself. He goes down. We'll know exactly what 6th place looks like and who needs to hit it. 95th right now. I want to stay with that 6th place team throughout the entire game as it swaps back and forth, unless Deceptos does the impossible. Breaking through metal bills is on the very backside of zone. No pads. 2 web zips to go, but nothing really looking good at all for him on this backside. He finds a tarp. This looks really good for him overall. Gets the move, but once again, Reese, 148 below, now down to 176. He's going to be forced to fight here with 11 people to go down with 79 HP. This is looking rough.
Loki went down in the LMP2, which is super important because they're right next to him on that leaderboard in your bottom right. Refsguard and Scram still up in this as well, but they're down to 70, now up to 82 points, sorry. So they are down in 9th. They're actually significantly further behind the 6th place team, which is currently at 98 points of Deceptos. He's just trying to heal out the Storm up in that top right-hand corner, but still so much behind Stormster, trying to do whatever he can. On the left, you're going to see up on high ground, it seems like Lechi and Swilliam potentially going for it, and Schmecky, it's a complete mess. This is exactly what I mentioned. The team's going up, left, right, and center, but back with Deceptos. No anything really to work with at this point, but he has managed to crew himself some AR ammo, so this could be a spray elimination that he may need to keep himself up here.
Wild Boar on the low ground. He's not going to be able to look up at all. We'll see if he ends up surviving. Kane and Cruel are going for height. Aqua and O'Reilly there too. It's a 3-way fight. No O'Reilly all the way up top. There's another pad, but it gets denied all the way on the bottom side. Yes, sir, indeed. Aqua and No O'Reilly have gained height in the semifinals. It's chopped by Kane and Cruel. Retaken by Noah, though. He gets the rebuild and once again goes for the big shot. It's all aggression for this team. And they connect side by side once more. Up against 2 launch pads. Aqua and No O'Reilly win the fights. No, it's a chop down though.
Chop down yet again. It's
can he touch it?
Same thing.
It's fine.
It's the same thing as Pandemonium. It's chaos up on the high ground, but Noah Riley and Aqua are still fighting for it. If anyone's going to hit the mechanical blades, then. But now down to no builds. Aqua goes down at the same time, leaving Noah as a solo. He's going to try spraying the box. It's a 1v2. He hits the shots to connect. He hits the knock onto that. Now that's Kane that's going to go down, leaving Cruel as a solo, a 1v1. So many materials. 60 builds left to Noah.
There's a new team on high ground as well. Who is that? Kane's down. Cruel's in the box down below. Noah can get him down completely, but he has matches to just go by himself. It's Sanji. Sanji and Vo, who've been there every single game, like a shadow behind the scenes. They're finally here in the light, but he gets stuffed out too. Sanji, low on HP. He's basically interrupted so many teams in the mid-game. Finally alive in the end, though. Both going for a few picks left and right, but it's builds that are just too hard to penetrate down below. Metal, brick, nothing to really spray down with those MK7s, and Noah Riley's straight for height again. 2 more web zits. 2 big shots too. Fovis down 105 with that 1v2. It looks kind of crazy from Noah Riley. He has 1 more obstacle on his way. It's Sanji, 3 builds above. Who's got the materials though? Noah Riley. It's all or nothing right now for you, my friend. But do you have the builds to be at the high table? Can you go for the big shots? He identifies the player. Sanji up in the sky. Big shot with the Spider-Man gauntlets, but he misses for the first time. Noah Riley now running a little bit low on mats. Goes for a bit of that pressure on the right side, jumps back towards the back, and then takes height. The movement is absolutely phenomenal. Noah Riley has the high ground.
Just him left up by himself. If he goes down on this, it's over for this particular day. He has to pick up the victory royale, but there's teams going up for it. He's making the mechanical plays down to 1 build, drops down to low, but it's over for Noah Riley.
He's down. Chapix, Seti, first place overall for the moment. They're rolling in and possibly also going for the win. This is a clinical display of how to win the final game. Nuts from Chapix, absolutely glorious from Seti, and that's how you rock in the final game of the semifinals. They're going straight towards the top.
I think a thing that we potentially just missed out on at the exact same time there was Mustache and Malabuka moving up to what was 7th. However, with that victory royale, that will be them up into 6th now, actually. So for Mustache and Malabuka, clutched up massive in the end game, but a huge congratulations to Chapix and Seti for not only being first, but picking up the victory royale in the final game, and in style, missing one shot, but hitting the next.
A symphony of results all the way towards the very end, from the top of the board all the way down to the 6th that qualify. Absolutely beautiful from Seti and Chapix. A nice run from Noah Riley and Aqua as well, was so close. And to see Kane and Cruel Reese all the way at the end, going toe-to-toe with some absolute Fortnite legends. That's what we like to see.
I mean, that had my heart racing. I was ready for the Aqua and Noah comeback. I'm thinking, is this Grand Royale? Is the qualification system? Is the same thing? Final game, ready for them just to go all the way up to height. But, I mean, we've got to give it props to them. They tried in that final game. They put on an absolute show, but they were absolutely no match for Seti and Chapix overall.
Absolutely not. It was so close and an awesome day overall. The format is great. That's it, though, from me and Reese. Reese, by the way, that was an absolute blast, man. So much fun casting with you.
That was amazing. That was great. I mean, you get to cast with Shio. This is the day made. Let's be real.
We have to see exactly what Zeke signed on 11th thing on the desk, because today was an absolute glorious day of Fortnite.
Thank you guys so much. My goodness, this was insane. This is the storylines, Levin and Sundown. You know, we talk about these things, right? We literally just talked about setting Chapix before we began this game. I'm telling you, it's like we're writing the book ourselves. Congratulations to them for finding themselves that little moment to just say, in game number 6, we're gonna walk away, we're gonna earn that victory out, and now they don't have to worry, Levin. They can just take it easy and wait for finals.
Yeah, I want to say I wasn't ever doubting it, but for a moment I did start to doubt it. You know, we're tickling through all them 5 games, and I'm thinking to myself, surely these guys don't choke, right? But as we said throughout the day, this is one of the better duos in terms of when you're looking at the personnel, and they finally got things going in that final game. Sundown, they did it eventually, right? But they will be playing in the finals.
They did it eventually, but additionally too, they did it through consistency and getting the victory royale, which has some very interesting implications on the leaderboard, as Shio and Reese ended up talking about. I think Malabuka and Mustache might have snuck their way right into a qualifying spot. We saw them, and I believe it was 2 or 3 of those end games. They were very much so getting the consistency and placement points, but with Chapix and Seti closing it out with the victory royale, stealing